I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I'm blickety black, blacker than black, black, I'm blacker than black, yo, because I'm black and I'm back. Yo, I'm black and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blickety black, black, black.
Action News Network is an Aboriginal American media network. As such, we are protected under the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, or DRIP, Articles 8, 14, and 16. Action News Network is allowed to provide Aboriginal news and media content on non-Indigenous media platforms free of oppressive censorship. Any breach of this protection is a breach.
It's gonna be a two-part video, joint, because it's gonna be a long video. Because for me to even go into the scathing article by the New York Times on ADOS, and really why it was a failed movement from the beginning. I want to both read the article in its entirety, and I want to go into commentary later, and that video will probably run me, if I put it all together, well over an hour. But even before I do the article, I have to go back into what came out about 2 years ago. This FBI intelligence assessment for black identity extremists. And I think a lot of people, with black people, especially since we don't pay attention to the news, and a lot of people didn't even pay attention to this shit when it came out, unless you was very privy to it, that it's dangerous to really label yourself anything, especially when it comes to black or African, anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Especially at this time. Okay? So this came out 2 years ago. Professor Black Truth did a real good article, a real good video essay on this and shit. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. It's about 12 pages. You can find it online. It's unclassified. It was unclassified when it first came out. You know what I'm saying? Now you can find it anywhere, PDF. So there's no excuse and shit. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but there's a couple. I just want to give you a little summary of this. I'm not even gonna read the whole summary, but and you're gonna see that this doesn't pertain to ADOS right here, the summary. But there's a part that kind of does, and they're going to try to tie all of these things together, and that's a real serious thing I don't think a lot of people really get. So, and when you see that U slash for, that'd be FOUO, it means for official use only, okay? So it says the FBI assesses it is likely black identity extremists, B.I.E, perceptions of police brutality against African Americans spurred an increase in premeditated, retaliatory, lethal violence against law enforcement, and will very likely serve as justification for such violence, right? So it goes into the FBI assess it is likely to increase. We get following the 9 August 2014 shooting of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, in the subsequent grand jury November 2014 declaration to indict the police officers involved. All right, so yeah, they say that they go, they scared of violence being committed against people, and they talk about the Moorish sovereign citizen ideology and shit like that. So most people be like, actually, this doesn't really pertain to ADOS. Yeah, I get you. I found this interesting though. It's like an appendix at the bottom page, very small letters. Mind you, this is from a long page, so this will be very small lettering. Again, for official use only, the FBI defines black identity extremists as individuals who seek, wholly, or import through unlawful acts of force or violence in response to perceived racism and injustice in American society, and some do so in furtherance of establishing a separate black homeland or autonomous black social institutions, communities, or government organizations within the United States. And that's what they're very scared of, okay? There could never be a black homeland or autonomous black social institutions, communities, or government organizations within the United States because black doesn't have any standing in law. but it doesn't stop people who perceive themselves to be black and trying to do so. Okay, and those people who perceive themselves to be black do have the legal right to do so, but not if they are going legally under the title of black or an African American or a descendant of slave for that fucking matter. So this desire for physical or psychological separation is typically based on either a religious or political belief system, which is sometimes formed around or includes a belief in racial superiority or supremacy. The mere advocacy of political or social positions, political activism, use of strong rhetoric, or generalized philosophic embrace of violent tactics may not constitute extremism and may be constitutionally protected. Now, it continues to say the FBI defines sovereign citizen extremists as individuals who openly reject their U.S. citizenship status, which you have the right to do so, but again, not if you are legally going about it as a black person. Believe that most forms of established government, authority, institutions are illegitimate and seek wholly apart through unlawful acts of force or violence, which doesn't go along with A.D.O.'s idolatry, but continue to further their claim to be immune from government authority. Alright, that goes more into the Moorish shit. But just look here how they telling you that they also fear not only just the violence or the violent groups, but the groups who want to break off from the United States. Alright, now they don't fear white supremacists trying to do so, because white supremacists, they can't break off. White people in general can't break off from the United States. They are slaves and beholden to the United States. Alright? Just like you selected and chose to be a slave of the United States by playing along with their games, okay? But if you don't think that ADOS or A.D.O.S is going to be put on the B.I.E. List, let's just continue reading this article, okay? We're going to go into the Times article now. Okay, so for once, my New York Times subscription, which isn't really that much, by the way, you know what I'm saying? We spent money on worse shit. But it finally came in handy, so because I have a subscription and I can get the articles and shit, I thought, why not? Because I thought this was interesting. A lot of people were talking about this. How this hashtag became a political organization, basically, in a group and shit. And like I said, this is only part one, and we're just going to talk about the article. I'll give a little bit of opinion as I go through, but I'm going to say that for the second video, which I hope to get out either the same day I release this or the next day, but probably within the same day. I'll probably have both out, but they'll be within 24 hours of each other. So let's go. Okay, where self-interest, the group growing identity debate in Black America, and why a movement that claims to support American descendants of slavery is being promoted by conservatives and attacked on the left. And this is by Farrah Stockman. Pretty sure she's not, what these people would consider an A.D.O.S, but you know what I'm saying? Again, let's continue. Well, we always know that we're not in control of the media, so they get to write on us. If I write on them, it's a problem, but it's another video. In Hollywood, Harriet Tubman is played in a new movie by a black British woman, much to the annoyance of some black Americans, which we have the right to be mad about. On the United States Census, an ultra-wealthy Nigerian immigrant and a struggling African-American woman from the South are expected to check the same box. When many American universities tout that their diversity numbers, black students who were born in the Bronx and in the Bahamas are counted as the same. And what you'll see in this article is that they don't think anything's wrong with that. They really don't. They don't think that a black person born and raised in the Bronx, you know what I'm saying, and a black person born in fucking Ethiopia, and come here, with money and become wealthy here, even more so than what they probably had. You know what I'm saying? They believe that we are all the same. They're culturally the same. And culturally, you have the same cultural ideology and beliefs as an immigrant from Ethiopia. All right? A spirited debate is playing out in black communities across America over the degree to which identity ought to be defined by African heritage, whether ancestral links to slavery, or what should come most before. Tensions between black Americans who descended from slavery and black immigrants from Africa and the Caribbean are not new. but a group of online agitators, that's a key word there, agitators, is trying to turn those disagreements into a political movement. And those two last words, political movement, it's another key word right there. And we'll learn more about this shit later on in my other video when I really go in depth into, what's going on here. They want colleges, employers, and the federal government to prioritize black Americans whose ancestors toiled in bondage. And they argue that affirmative action policies originally designed to help the descendants of slavery in America have been used to benefit other groups, including immigrants from Africa and the Caribbean. And it's true. A lot of times, quick story. When I graduated from high school, United Negro College Fund, had 2 scholarships for 2 black children, right? To go to college and shit. Now, the 2 girls, who were selected were of Jamaican descent, all right? Now, I grew up with a lot of Jamaicans who would separate themselves from black Americans. Some wouldn't even date us or didn't even want to hang out with us and shit like that. Majority of them cool as fuck and down with the same fucking struggle and realize that we are the same fucking people. But, you know what I'm saying? And would never want to take away from African Americans, what they get and shit. But I just wanted to point that out. And to the same degree, there was a Jamaican American scholarship that was raised by a bunch of Jamaican businessmen and women and shit like that to put a kid every year, to school, and it was given to a Jamaican woman, right? A Jamaican girl, right? And I couldn't apply for that, and neither could any other black person, right? So you have to look at that right there. They get to benefit off of black scholarship loans and all this other stuff, but when they have their separate ethnic shit, can you go? They'll tell you right away you can't because you're not Jamaican, you're not African or whatever and shit. But anything black here is open, fair game. But again, see, this is white America trying to, and I hate to say white America, but I hate the government and the institutions. I'm gonna stop saying white America. The institutions, right? They're trying to justify their reasons for this. The American descendants of slavery, they say, should have their own racial category on the census forms and college applications and not be lumped in with other with similar skin color but vastly different lived experiences. The group, which calls itself A.D.O.S, the American Descendants of Slavery, is small in number, with active supporters estimated to be in the thousands, but the discussion they are provoking is coursing through the conversation for and ride. Those who embrace its philosophy point to the disparities between black people who immigrated to the United States voluntarily and others whose ancestors were brought here and changed. And again, I'm not even going into all of that with the slavery and shit, but because most people reading this shit fucking know how we go about this, all right? Roughly 10% of the 40 million black people in the United States were born abroad, according to the Pew Research Group, up from 3% in 1980. African immigrants are more likely to have college degrees than blacks and whites who were born in the United States. A 2007 study published in the American Journal of Education found that 41% of black freshmen at Ivy League colleges were immigrants or the children of immigrants, even though these groups represent 13% of the black population in the United States. In 2017, black students at Cornell University protested for the admission of more underrepresented black students, who they define as black Americans with several generations in the United States. There is a lack of investment in black students whose families were affected directly by the American Holocaust in America, the students wrote to the president of the university. Alright, so university administrators say that black students from other countries contribute to increased diversity on campus, even if their admission does not mitigate the injustices of American slavery. Many black immigrant groups are also descended from slavery in other countries. The film producer Tariq Nasheed, who we're going to talk about later on in my next video, is among the outspoken defenders of the idea that American descendants of slavery should have their own ethnic identity. Every other group, when they get here, goes out of their way to say, I'm Jamaican, I'm Nigerian, I'm from Somalia, he said. When we decide to say, okay, we're a distinct ethnic group, people look at that as negative. All right, which is weird because the sheet said he declined to comment for this. So this is pulling a quote from probably one of his videos or from a statement he gave in another interview. This is how they do it. But they're not going to tell you that because Nasheed said that he didn't want to talk to them because he didn't want to be a part of this. Because they call you to let you know that they're using your name there, and do you want to give some quotes and shit. So they already had this quote picked out. All right, just as a side note, this year responding to requests for more detailed disaggregated data Oh, this exaggerated. Okay, I guess disaggregated. I'm sorry, having a brain fart. Data for our diverse American experience. The Census Bureau announced that African Americans will be able to list their origins on census forms for the first time instead of simply checking black. The goal of A.D.O.S. two founders, again, founders and shit, and goal actually, but founders, another fucking key word. You know, Antonio Moore, a Los Angeles defense attorney, and Yvette Campbell, a former aide to Democratic lawmakers in Washington. That's another key word there with Yvette Carnell. She's a former aide to Democratic lawmakers in Washington, so she has very strong affinity for the Democratic Party. All right, Yvette Carnell wants to be a politician one day. All right, I'm just letting y'all know that. Don't be surprised if she don't become a politician within the next 5 years. This is going to be her platform to do so. If not, Antonio also maybe running for head DA in LA or something like that. It's to harness frustrations among black Americans by seizing the nation's shifting demographics. Embracing their role as insurgents, another key word, insurgents. Mr. Moore and Ms. Carnell held their first national convention in October. They have made reparations for the brutal system of slavery upon which the United States was built, a key of tenet of their platform. The movement has also become a lightning rod for criticism on the left. Its skepticism of immigration sometimes strikes a tone similar to that of President Trump. And the group has fiercely, they try to tie it to President Trump. All right, just pay attention to the way they word shit here. And the group has fiercely attacked the Democratic Party, though they really have not. Now they saying this because Nasheed, Black Truth, and Jason Black criticized the Democratic Party. All right, and those guys are not the founders or leaders of ADOS. They co-signed it, you know, but they're not the leaders of ADOS. So you gotta separate that. They criticize the Democratic Party, and rightly so. I haven't really heard too much from Moore and Carnell, who is a Democratic, you know, aide, right? Urging black voters to abstain from voting in the next Democratic presidential nominee unless he or she produces specific economic plan for the nation's ADOS population. And every other ethnic group here does this shit. But because you're now getting privy to the game, hip to the game and shit, you want to do it yourself, now it's a fucking problem. Now it's a problem because you want to stand up and do what every other ethnic group in this country does. All right? What have you done for me lately? Such tactics have led some to accuse the group of showing division among African Americans and engaging in a form of voter suppression, not unlike the voter purges and gerrymandering efforts by some Republicans. Bullshit. Altogether bullshit. Okay? It is. I'm not defending ADOS, but I will not sit here and let this article, you know, lie on these people. Okay? Gerrymandering is something that you have to have political fucking power to do so. Politicians, lawmakers, and shit like that in a certain district could gerrymander, which means taking districts and changing the boundaries on it to fit, you know, the need of the party. You know, if you know, most of the Democratic voters live on the north side of town, and most of the Republican voters live on the south side of town, but there's two districts in town, they both have equal sections. Instead of doing that, they want to split the sections up, you know, so one side is north side, another side, so the political party could have, you know, that lead in that area. Instead of maybe 1 year, it might be two of the same party running that area, city, or whatever, right? Look up gerrymandering. I don't really have the time to go into it too much right now. Not voting will result in another term of Donald Trump, which I say, so what? Said Brandon Castaway. That's what they fucking scared of and cried about. National Press Secretary of the Democratic National Committee. Shireen Mitchell, the founder of Stop Online Violence Against Women, has been embroiled in an online battle with ADOS activists for months. Ms. Mitchell contends that the group's leaders are using reparations as a weapon to make Mr. Trump more palatable to black voters. Others have pointed out that Ms. Carnell once appeared on her YouTube channel in a Make America Great Again hat. Here's some pictures. You see Carnell in the middle. I think that might be more next to her shit. This is their convention. I see a lot of black women in here. A lot of y'all are really falling for the okie doke, man. That college education, man, is really wreaking its havoc on our sisters, man. And here's a presidential nominee on the Democrat side, Marianne Williamson, who's the only one who really stood up for reparations, which is not going to happen. And you can check out 3 of my videos I've done on reparations and shit like that to see why it's not going to fucking happen. Over 1,000 people attended the group's first national conference, hosted by Simmons College of Kentucky. Guest speakers included Marianne Williamson, a white self-help author who had made reparations a key plank of a platform as a minor Democratic presidential candidate, as well as Cornel West, a black Harvard professor who said A.D.O.S is giving voice to working class black people. I used to like Cornel West, but yeah, again, another person who capes a little too hard for the Democrats and really does not say much, you know, like Michael Eric Dyson, whatever his name is and shit. He's another one. Tara Perry, Tara Perry, a 35-year-old paralegal, was among the attendees, a former employee of the Los Angeles Black Worker Center, which used to count the number of black laborers at construction sites. Ms. Perry says she believed the influx of Mexican immigrants had made it more difficult for black men to find construction jobs in the city. That's across the country. That's more than just the construction field. I mean, I worked in restaurants most of my life, and let me tell you, even to start out washing dishes somewhere as a black teenager and stuff like that, you have to compete with 30 or 40-year-old Mexican men who come here and wash dishes professionally and shit. So a lot of them jobs where you used to pick up back in the day, like I did, washing dishes and shit when I was a teenager, hard for you to do now. Let alone even if you're a chef, you know, who went to school, or a cook who went to school and shit. A lot of these restaurants don't need chefs and shit no more. You know what I'm saying? So they just pick up a cook and shit and teach him how to do it, and he'll cook, you know. And they usually come from, you know, unfortunately, Latin America, primarily Mexico. People call us divisive. We're not divisive. We're self-interested. And Miss Perry added that she was prepared to see Mr. Trump reelected. And this is what the Democrats are freaking about. So now they targeting this shit, okay? Critics consider the movement a Trojan horse meant to infiltrate the black community with a right-wing agenda, which is like, what the fuck? Why are blacks not allowed to be Republicans? The fact that they don't want you to be right-wing or have conservative values and shit like that makes me want to be more conservative. You understand what I'm saying? That's how I roll. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like it's like right-wing is just automatically fucking like off limits to black people or some shit. It's the weirdest fucking shit. I've never seen this in my whole fucking life. And the question why the group would target Democrats who have been far more open to discussions of reparations. You are willing to let Donald Trump win, who clearly says he doesn't see reparations happen. He did not, he's not a dumb man. It's not going to fucking happen. He didn't say, I don't want reparations to happen. He just said, I don't see, not I don't want. He doesn't see reparations here happening, okay? You are willing to let Donald Trump win, who, it's just, said Talib Kweli, a rapper and activist who has become a vocal opponent of the group Get Out of Here. Recently, Hollywood has become the source of much frustration around the dividing line between United States-born African Americans and black immigrants. When a black British actress, Cynthia Erivo, was hired to play the abolitionist Harriet Tubman, the casting received immediate backlash. Similarly, the filmmaker Jordan Peele has been criticized for hiring Lupita Nyong'o, who is Kenyan, and Daniel Kaluuya, who is British, to play African American characters in his movies. But Moore 39 and Miss Carnell say that they're not scapegoating black immigrants, okay, or trying to lead black voters astray. They say they are merely demanding something tangible from Democrats in exchange for votes and trying to raise awareness around the economic struggle of many black Americans. And again, this is why I say they merely demanding something tangible from Democrats. It's a political organization, all right? A.D.O.S is a political organization. They want you to vote Democrat, but they were trying to get something out of it. You don't go to when you play poker, you don't show your hand. You showing your hand on racist Democrat. You say, we're going to vote for you, but we just want to make sure something is going to fucking happen. No. You should have Republicans up there, everybody up there, shit like that. Say, we don't know who the fuck we going to vote for or whatever. Then see who comes to the table with this shit. You know, for this, yeah, that's what I said. You got to stop letting people who don't have no street knowledge fucking run, movements and shit like that. Because these people are like fucking dorks and shit. You don't show your hands on the street or in poker. When you on the football field, you don't show the other team your fucking plays. You don't call out your plays as you playing and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what they doing. Miss Carnell says she learned of the huge disparities in inherent wealth that the left that left black Americans with a tiny share of the economic pie by reading reports, including an Institute for Policy Studies report that predicted the median wealth of black families would drop to zero by 2053. Mr. Moore had been talking about some of the same studies on his own YouTube channel. The two joined forces in 2016 and coined the term A.D.O.S, which spread as a hashtag on social media. And everybody was down with it when it was just a hashtag. But now, y'all niggas turned it into some like weirdo movement shit. And here goes them doing the Christian thing and leading themselves into prayer or some shit, right? What they've done is taken the racial wealth divide filled out of academia and packages under a popular hashtag, said Dedrick Asani Muhammad of the Institute for Policy Studies. Mr. Ashanti Muhammad lamented that the rhetoric of the movement comes off as anti-immigrant and says that Mr. Moore and Ms. Cornell over-dramatize the impact of African immigrants on the wealth and opportunities available to black Americans. So here goes black bootleg butter biscuit eating fucking, like professor, your academia blacks who toe the line for this shit, right? So William Darity Jr., a professor at Duke University, has written a series of reports about wealth inequity cited by Mr. Moore and Ms. Cornell. In one report, Mr. Darity found that the median net worth of white households in Los Angeles was $355,000 compared to $4,000 for black Americans. African immigrants in the city had a median net worth of $72,000. Dr. Darity's research also shows that not all immigrant groups are wealthy. Mr. Darity did not attend the recent conference in Kentucky, but he saw A.D.O.S as a social justice movement on behalf of a segment of the black population that's being left behind. But not everybody agrees with Dr. Darity's view that empowering disadvantaged African Americans is the extent of the group's message. Some has used the hashtag some who have used the hashtag have used racist, violent. Oh, there you go, that violent tag. This is how they try to tag the group. For all y'all who still in this shit, that violent language and shit, just the word violent, all right? That's how they gonna try to tie this shit to the B.I.E. shit, all right? You gotta peep game where it's at. You gotta not fall for the flim, all right? When going after their detractors, Ms. Cornell wants to defended the term blood and soil, a Nazi slogan on Twitter. It's all they need. Violent language, Nazi slogan. This is how they gonna tie this shit. Y'all better pay attention to this. Ms. Mitchell, the founder of Stop Online Violence Against Women, said she was harassed online by the group's supporters after she mentioned A.D.O.S or Joy Reid's MSNBC show in a segment about Russian disinformation campaigns. During the segment, Ms. Mitchell implied that A.D.O.S was made up of Russian bots impersonating real black people online. After the segment aired, the group supporters was harassed Ms. Mitchell as well as Ms. Reid. And the Russian bot thing is a real dumb shit. Okay, I'm in my mid-30s. When I was a kid, Russia was the USSR. It was through the Cold War. Everybody was scared of Russia. Russia. I never thought now, 30 years after the fall of the wall and shit like that we still be Russia, that they would still throw Russia out there as the bad. It's funny, man. It really is. If you do not agree with them or acknowledge their existence, they go after you, Ms. Mitchell said. Ms. Cornell has also been criticized for her past service on the board of Progressive for Immigration Reform, an anti-immigrant group who has received funding from a foundation linked to John Tanton, who was referred to as the puppeteer of the nation's nativist movement by the Southern Poverty Law Center. A September newsletter from Progressives for Immigration Reform touted a growing political crowd of A.D.O.S and praised it as a movement that understands the impact unbridled immigration has had on our country's most vulnerable workers. This summer, A.D.O.S ignited a flurry of criticism after Ms. Cornell complained that Senator Kamala Harris, Democrat of California, was running for president as an African-American candidate, but had failed to put forth an agenda for black people. She noted that Ms. Harris is the daughter of an Indian mother and a Jamaican father, which doesn't make her black American, right? Doesn't. But she pretends to be, right? But then have you seen her agenda? And I talked about Kamala Harris in previous videos. What she do? She's married to a white dude, which, hey, your prerogative and shit. That doesn't really make you, the worst, right? But she's a DA who has a real good record of locking up black people. I mean, the white DAs, her counterparts, it was like she was competing to be all of them. Their records all combined. You should look up her conviction rate. It's phenomenal. And although Ms. Carnell and Mr. Moore say ADOS is a nonpartisan movement by the hashtag being used by conservatives who support Mr. Trump. I like ADOS. Ann Coulter, a white conservative commentator, wrote on Twitter, but I think it should be DOAS, descendants of American slaves. Not Haitian slaves, not Moroccan slaves. Never thought I would agree with Ann Coulter, but my God, she's on point. She's smarter than the two so-called leaders of this movement, because she gets what it's about. At the conference in Kentucky, supporters pushed back against the idea that they were anti-immigrant or surrogates of the president's agenda. We're not xenophobes, said Mark Stevenson, the director of talent acquisition in the Navy, who said he founded an A.D.O.S chapter. Here we go again, that chapter shit. It's not a movement anymore. It's a chapter. It's chapters, right? It's a group, all right? It's a 401c whatever, you know what I'm saying? 3C, whatever the shit is, right? In Columbus, Ohio this summer, if you ask somebody who's Latino if their heritage, they'll tell you they're Puerto Rican, Dominican, or Cuban. It's our heritage, yeah, I don't see the issue. And this is under immigration and race. Like I said, I will be doing commentary on this in another video coming up real soon. I just wanted to read this and give a little bit of opinion as I go along. I don't want to make this an hour-long video. I think 30 minutes is enough. So, you know what I'm saying? Stay tuned, and the next video will be the commentary to go along with this, okay? So, hold tight. And stay tuned to Action News Network. It's your boy Action Jack. You know how we do. Peace.